What's good, y'all? Welcome back to Take a Time Out. This is episode number 55. Can't think of any good 55 number players. I can't think of them. Maybe in the NFL, there's probably one that's sneaky, but I'll try to think by the end of this. Yeah, the NBA playoffs. We're about halfway through all the first round. Yeah, so it's been really, really ramping up. I mean, I don't know about you, James. We've both been texting the chats about these crazy games, but this has been a great first round, like in terms of just skilled matchups, close games, everything that we've really wanted to see, we've seen thus far. Everything, all the predictions are starting to come to light. Like it's been a good first round of basketball. I've been enjoying it. How about you?
Yeah. I think we're seeing some players take the next step in their legacy. We'll kind of dive into that. Seeing some old heads kind of drift away, which is
Hmm.
sad, but like I said, we'll talk about that too. Um, I think the way the second round's starting to match up, it's going to be real good, real interesting to see who comes out of the East and the West uh, in the next series because it's starting to take its form right now.
Hmm. Yep. Well, let's hop in the right one, right way you were talking about. I mean, the old generation passing the torch. So let's hop into the Timberwolves versus the Suns series. It was a 4-0 sweep in favor of the Timberwolves. Minnesota gets their first like playoff win, and it's been a drought, man. It's been a really long time, like Kevin Garnett years. So yeah, it's 4-0 sweep. There's a lot of talks. I mean, Ant had this coming out party. That's the real storyline that everybody should be talking about because that's all that matters. Is Ant averaged 31, 8, and 6, 51% field goal, and 43% from three. Goodness, that's absurd stats. Um, the start, I have series notes for every series, so I mean, some of the stuff I put was just that stuff that I put over the series. The stars for the Suns, they underperformed. I mean, most of them performed, but Bradley Beal had a up and down series, I believe, in my opinion. And then
hmm
it kind of leaves us with a question. I mean, what's next for the Suns? I mean, there's a lot of talks. There's D-Book to the Knicks already. Everybody, ESPN's hopped on that one like crazy. So I don't know what you're thinking, James, but in my personal opinion, I'm thinking Durant's got to be the guy once again. There's no way you just move off of D-Book, been your franchise for a while. I mean, the Suns are in one of the worst situations out of all the teams. So
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned like the D book to the Knicks because at first I was just like, I don't know about that. And then I kind of started realizing like the Suns really don't have a future. He's still a young superstar or star. And I feel like his style and the way he lives his life is so New York-esque. Like I feel like that fits his whole personality. So looking at it through that perspective, I can see Devin Booker going to New York. But for the Suns, I don't know. Like you said, they're kind of in shambles. It's like what piece do you build off of? Because you're paying all these people so much money.
yeah, I mean, you really have no excuse but to run it back. I mean, I'm sure we'll hop into the off season, so we don't have to try to chalk this one up and make it like make sense. But simple fact of the matter is that it's there's so much money being paid to these top three that there's not much room. Like, who you gonna sign? Nobody's gonna just sign for vet minimums to
hmm
play with any of those guys. So we'll see what happens. But there'll be plenty of talks on them this offseason. Just one of the
Yeah.
sweeps. All right, well, let's hop
hmm
into a really good series. This has probably been my favorite series to watch. We got the Knicks versus the 76ers. It's 3-2. Game happened last night. What a game last night. I mean, I'll just go through my notes real quick. I said Brunson is arguably the greatest Knicks playoff performance ever in game four. That's probably up
hmm
there for the greatest Knicks performance. It's up there with the Walt Frazier's and all that. I put Embiid has been good and bad this series at times. Looks gassed half the time though. I said last night he looked like he was homeless. I mean, I kind of look like I'm homeless right now, but I got a little beard going on. But he looks real bad. I mean, with the all the things are happening to him. But and then I put OG Anunoby. He guarded Embiid a lot of this series. We might see that switch. We might start seeing him on Tyrese more. I'm thinking
hmm
try to. keep him out of foul trouble and stop Tyrese now that what we seen last night. Josh Hart, one of these series games, he had a 0.17 rebound game. That's a Josh
That's
Hart game right
insane.
there. That's a Josh Hart game. But yeah, I mean, let's mostly stick with what happened last night. What he score? He scored 7 points in 20 seconds. I know that. And then just threes
Yeah,
to keep him in the game. I mean, to get him back into the game. So, what a performance by Tyrese. Embiid was horrible until overtime. He kind of showed a little gas, but it's overlooked because this is now going to be talked about the Tyrese Maxey game. I mean, there's no other ifs, ands, or buts about it.
yeah, and I think this is a matchup I think we're going to see for years to come, and I'm all for it. It's that New York versus Philly kind of rivalry. Um, I know you can throw Boston in there too, but all those East Coast cities, like the hate that they have for each other.
Hmm.
And I mean, I'm kind of rooting on the Knicks just because I've been liking how the Knicks play all year, and I just love the way they play team defense. And I really thought they were going to close it out last night with how their defense was playing.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like every possession they're getting a steal or a block or whatever. But you got to give Maxey credit because without him, there's no way they would have been within even 10 points of that game.
Hmm. Yeah, there's no doubt in that. Yeah, like it's just overshadowed because what's going to happen is we're going to either talk about this game or we're going to completely forget, and it really all depends on if the Sixers can come back and win the series. This is either going to be that game. Five is either going to be remember this game like we're going to talk about it like that, or it's just going to be one of them hardwood classics they throw on NBA TV that nobody watches. Like it's in that territory. I forgot we have like I made a X factor if you had an X factor for this series. I mean, for me it's been Joel. I mean, when he goes off, it seems like they win, but that kind of changed last night. I put this down before last night. Man, I'm excited to see how this series ends up. It's one of the better ones.
I feel like the X factor is different every game because I mean, you can give it to Joel, Tyrese, you can give it to Brunson or
Shoot, game
you
one
know,
went to Josh Hart for real.
yeah, Josh Hart. I mean, if you can't even look past OG with the defense he's been playing too, and the
Mhm.
threes been knocking down. And the Knicks have so many players that aren't going to, wow you with how their offense is. And I don't know. I just feel like they have a team. If they just get one more star, like a Devin Booker,
Yeah,
there's no reason they should not be competing for uh, the East Finals every year
yeah,
with
no,
with the Celtics.
no, I definitely agree, and I love Thibodeau, man. He's out there.
Hmm.
Bogdanovich is out for the year, and Thibs is like, that's it. Seven guys are playing for this game that we got coming up. There's nobody else that's gonna touch the floor. Precious Achua didn't even touch the floor. It's just funny how that man works. He's like, I'm only playing the guys I like. It's crazy.
And I like it, dude. He's a tough old school coach, and they got like probably what the second best defense in the league in the
Yep.
playoffs right now. It's looking like the first right there with the Timberwolves.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, and they love him too. All right, we got another good series. It's happening tonight. Clippers and Mavs. It's tied 2-2. My X factor so thus far has been Paul George. A couple series notes here. Kyrie almost completed a 20 plus point comeback by himself. He had 40 plus, and Lucas struggled. And then Harden has been fantastic this series. I mean, I hate to say it, but he has. Paul George left his body in game four. He had moments where he just absolutely tore it up. Kawhi is probably done for the series. And it seemed like he hurt them more than he helped them when he played, really, in all honesty. And Westbrook has been horrible, but Coffee and Man have stepped up. But
hmm
yeah, I mean, let's talk about my X factor for a second. Paul George. I mean, he's the only one that hasn't got extended yet from that whole Clippers thing they got going on. He hasn't got that full extension yet. So he could hop on the Magic train. He could go play. I'd like to see him in Orlando or somewhere young, like somewhere like that. I just don't see him losing this series and staying a Clipper, but that's a topic for another day. He's just been hooping, man. He's been an absolute baller. It's like PG that we used to see for the Pacers, really. Like it's his team right now.
hmm And this game that's going down tonight, uh, the winner of this, I think, wins the series,
I agree.
for sure. And because if Dallas ends up winning tonight, I think they close it out in Game 6, and then I wouldn't want to play all them superstars at home in the Game 7
Mm-mm.
if it goes to that. Um, so this game to me is what decides the series.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, and even a report came out today about Luca. Basically, he would if it was the regular season, he wouldn't be playing right now. That's how hurt he is. So it's tough. You can tell he's a little bothered, but the fact that they have Kyrie now, where we can see like Kyrie, there's never been a better situation. As much as I like to hate on him for his Celtics days, I mean, dude has been back to his normal self. I mean,
Yeah,
it's great to do what they
he's
got.
looking like the Cavs Kyrie. Like that
Bro.
last game, he was just going insane, like hanging in the air like he used to. I was like, man, I
Hmm.
miss seeing this because no one else in the NBA plays how he plays.
Post up.
It, it's like it's
Yeah.
so unique, and I just love watching it.
Yeah, watching him in that mid post, that little floater
Hmm.
game he has, and like you talked about, he hangs in the air for like 5 seconds, 5 more seconds than you think he's going to, and he drains the little step back. Yeah, that's been a fun series as well. Another sneaky good series that we've seen thus far, Pacers Bucks. It's 3-2 Indiana. Last night they took an L. They didn't look that engaged last night. My X factor's been Pascal Siakam. It seems like when he plays really, really hard. I mean, he's been killing on rebounds and points wise, he's been their best scorer. Um, the Bucks, they're injury riddled, obviously, but all these games have been close. Game three was probably the best game of the playoffs almost. Maybe you can argue last night's game with the Sixers, but I also had Tyrese has been all over the place offensively, but he still makes the right plays. Like no matter how bad he's struggling from three or stuff like that. I mean, it still runs through him, and they still score 1 million points, and if they don't, they don't win. It's that simple.
Hmm. Yeah, I guess I didn't realize how good Siakam was. I mean, a couple years ago, I thought he was pretty good, and back in 2019 when he won the chip, but when they traded for him, I was just like, eh. I mean, add some more offense kind of fits what they're looking to play like, but he's really came out of his shell prior to what he was playing in the regular season with the Pacers towards the end. Uh, but the big thing is with the injuries with the Bucks. I mean, right now they have no one to really score the ball. I mean, we
Mhm.
were talking the other night about Brook Lopez going off
Yeah,
and winning us some money. So it's when you kind of have to rely on. I mean, Chris Middleton kind of looks like he's banged up too.
yeah,
So it's like you're leaning on Pat Bev, Bobby Portis, and Brook Lopez. I mean, that's not really going to get the job done against a high-paced Pacers team. Like
yeah.
you can
No,
play all the good defense you want, but the way that the Pacers pace the game, you're
hmm
just not going to outscore them, and
yeah,
that's just what it is.
yeah. No pun intended. But I think the Pacers absolutely close it out tomorrow.
Oh,
Whatever the
for
next
sure.
game is. Yeah, they didn't. They weren't even playing hard last night. It didn't seem like. When Pat Bev drops 20 on you, Bobby Portis has 20. Like they were sneaking it in. They weren't playing that hard. They mailed that game in. So hopefully next
Hmm.
time we talk, it'll be over. All right, we
Yeah.
got the Pelicans sweeping. I mean, the Pelicans getting swept by the Thunder. Not much to talk about this series, but game one had me thinking this is going seven, and then it was all
Hmm.
Thunder all day, man. My X factor was Chet. I mean, you could say Shea. I mean, he hooped, but it seemed like when Chet was just after game one, there was talks like Jonas Valanciunas. He's just been posting him up. He's bigger than him. Then Chet comes out. Not only does him and Shea have the most annoying commercial on out of everything, you see that man, and he's just blocking every shot. It's ridiculous. Yeah, that's really all the notes I had. I mean, it's just been all Thunder all the way since the game one.
One thing I will say about this series, and I know it's a Pelicans team that doesn't have Zion and stuff, but shout out to the Thunder though, like coming out and taking care of business because that's very hard to do with basically no playoff experience for that Thunder team as a number one seed. The expectations are high and they delivered. That's what you're supposed to do is sweep an eight seed.
Hmm.
And they look like a one seed. And I mean, I know some of the games were close, like you said, game one, but after that, it's just like, this team's actually pretty good. Like they have a chance, to win the West. I know we'll talk about Denver and stuff like that, but when you get a hungry young team like that can run the floor, I mean, you can't put it past them. They're a number one seed for a reason.
Yeah. No, they surprised me, man. They surprised me. I mean, the thing that really surprised me about the Thunder is how deep that bench goes. And like you talk about with the playoff experience, you would think that would go down a little bit, but dude, I mean Isaiah Joe has been hooping. Kason Wallace has been playing
Hmm.
defense. Like it just goes so deep for them, and they have a million picks to back it up on top of that. So no matter if they
Exactly.
miss or not, like Thunder, we talked about the Suns earlier. Thunder are one of the best situations in the league. So
And it's crazy because they'll play either the Clippers or the Mavericks, and I already know like the sports books are going to have them as underdogs, no matter who
mhm.
they play. I genuinely think they're going to be underdogs,
No, I agree.
and
Yeah,
and
ridiculous.
I I think whoever they play, I think there's no reason they shouldn't beat them, to be
Yeah.
honest.
I mean, there'll be that game, it's either going to go 6 or 7, and they're
Hmm.
going to be tired. Most of them guys are banged up. Like the Thunder, man, watch out, man, for real.
Yeah.
All right, we got the Celtics and Heat. That game's going on. It's probably tipping off around right now. 3-1 Celts. You scared me, man. I was in the shower. I get out the shower. James is like, Achilles, Achilles. And I look it up. And then it's like first notification I see is Porzingis is limping off the floor. Where I just slapped myself in the head so hard because I've been talking about all year. Our season relies on Porzingis staying healthy because behind him is Al Horford, who is a decent role player, but not ready to play the rest of this series or even the rest of this playoffs. Now we got Luke Cornett and Xavier Tillman, so we're not really deep at that position, and we're relying on a guy who's been hurt half of his career. So it's not a great situation. I mean, dude's been good. He's been hooping, but man, just come back, take your time. Let's win these first couple matchups before we get to the conference finals and play the Knicks or something like that. It's scary.
Hmm.
Series notes, I mean, my X factor was made threes. Whoever makes the most threes wins the game for real. The Heat, game two, everybody talked about it. I mean, they made the record for most threes they've ever made in a playoff game. So that'll win you the game right there. Porzingis post
Hmm.
ups, they weren't working in game two. He was struggling in game two. He had like 9 points. Jimmy Butler talked trash, and then we absolutely smoked him. So I was happy to see that. Uh, Tatum has been great, not talked about enough. I was a little biased there, but I think he has. And yeah, whoever makes the most threes wins this series, man.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean
I
when the
mean,
no, go ahead.
no, I mean, you kind of said it best. I mean, uh, the Celtics are just so much more deep and play. They just have more skill when it comes when you really break it down. Like you can only get so lucky, and I think that's kind of what Miami had in game two. Is just the threes were falling that day, and you just kind of have to tip your cap, like, all right. But I think game three, you kind of saw what the series is for what it really is, and I think the Celtics take it, and hopefully Porzingis gets back to healthy because I don't want to hear no if we had Porzingis against the Knicks or if we had Porzingis against. I don't want to hear any of that type of stuff, and I know you don't either.
Oh,
I know everyone
no,
wants a fully healthy playoff series where everybody has their stars. So.
I definitely agree, man. Yeah. Even if yeah, I don't want no excuses, no matter what. But yeah.
Hmm.
We got the Lakers and Nuggets, man. 4-1, Nuggets win. My X factor was the Jokic and Murray pick and roll. Because down the stretch, that was all. That was the only play being ran,
Hmm.
baby. You just call that out. You throw up the one. The defense knows what they're running. Everybody knows it's Jokic and Murray pick and roll. It don't matter. Um, the Lakers, the stat it even went up after this because I did this before, but Lakers led 70% of the series. At 136 minutes, Nuggets led 21%. It was tied 7%, and the Nuggets come out with a 4-1 W. That
Yeah.
stat blew my mind. I mean, it just blew me out the water. That's that. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah, I know you kind of talked about it in the chat. It's just who can close out the games. That's I don't know if it's an X factor, but that's what decided this.
Hmm.
And it's kind of crazy when you sit and think about it that the Lakers could have easily swept the Nuggets if they knew how to close out the games.
Hmm.
And you can blame it on, I mean, Lakers fans are going to blame it on someone every single game, but ultimately I think it comes down to coaching.
Yeah.
Uh, when you have to know when to call the timeouts, you got to know when to have specific personnel in. And when you're just getting outplayed by two people, I mean, you prepare all year because you know that's who you're going to have to play. You know that's who you lost to last year, and you still
Hmm.
couldn't do it. It's
Yeah.
just ultimately, it's just sad. It's
That is
sad if
sad.
you're a Lakers fan. So
Hmm.
that's all I
Yeah.
gotta say.
Yeah, I mean, I have in my notes like Davis and LeBron, they carried game four, 13 bench points. Um, but that can't really be what the I thought about bench as an X factor, but the Nuggets bench was absolutely disgusting. It was nasty. It
Hmm.
was horrible. Like nobody's talking about that Nuggets bench right now because they couldn't play, man. They it got to the point where Mike Malone in like game five was like KCP got hurt and he's like, are you good? Because you got to go back in there, bud. And KCP's in
Yeah,
there, and he's like dang there on crutches, limping around the court because they have no bench depth. Like Braun's not ready to play. That Peyton Watson, he's not ready to play. It's kind of scary for the Nuggets. I'm interested to see how the next series with the Wolves goes. I really am because
yeah, and like we said about the Thunder, it's like if the Nuggets ultimately play the Thunder
mhm,
and the Nuggets have someone go down like a KCP, that
mhm.
could be the deciding factor. It's like, okay, we can grab deep into our bench, but we can't.
No. Yeah, it's scary. It's
So,
not the same as last year. You're not bringing in the veteran Jeff Green. Chris Braun's not playing the same as he was last year. So the
and
King, yeah.
one thing, it's crazy because like you kind of look back on like the finals, right? There's always someone from the bench in every single team that's ever won the finals that
Hmm.
you can name off the top of your head.
Yep.
I mean, we got Sean Livingston, we got Iguodala, we got
Raptors had
uh,
Norman Powell that one year with Kawhi.
yeah, yeah, bro. Like you can just keep the list going. It's just you have to have someone that's going to step up and I think for the Nuggets it was Bruce Brown,
Yep.
and
Hmm.
that's someone that they don't have anymore.
Yeah, I forgot about Bruce.
Where even is that bum anymore? He's at the
He's in
Raptors, isn't he?
Toronto. He got traded.
Yeah, bro.
Pacers trade him
He got
Pascal. Yeah.
paid and just wet the bed.
Yep. He literally took the money over another ring because Denver would have happily brought him back for like 10 mil 4 years, but he was like, no, give me the 2 year 55 mil. He's like, give me that. Yeah, it's sad. I'm happy though, as a Celtics fan. I'm happy to see it all go down. Because this is how it's gonna go. We have one more series, then we'll be done. But this is how I see it, man. The West is they're gonna battle it out. Like we got Timberwolves versus the Nuggets. That's gonna be a great series. We got the Thunder playing either the Mavs or the Clippers. That's gonna be a great series. They're gonna be battling it out. The Celtics are gonna cakewalk until they get to the Knicks, and it might be a good series. We're chilling at this point in time, in my
Hmm.
opinion. So it's looking good.
Yeah,
But yeah, this is the winner who will play the Celtics. It's the Cavs and Magic. It's 3-2 Cavs right now. My X factor has been Evan Mobley. I mean, he had the game winning block last night. That was nasty. He guarded Paolo in the last minute, and he just absolutely shut him down. Paolo was having an amazing game. They're like, Mobley, we need you to guard him right now. Dude just shuts it out. Mitchell, after the game, was like, I've been happy with Mitchell, man. I mean, he's been really humble and he's been like taking blame and not, you don't see a lot of stars do that. And he was straight up like, I played horrible still. And Mobley really won us this game. Um, yeah, the home teams have won their respective games. So I think this goes seven. I honestly do. This is the only series that'll probably go seven. And I'm excited to see how it ends.
yeah. I'm kind of waiting for Mitchell to kind of take the next step that we saw last year, because I think if he has in the series, I think this series would have been over last night.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, the Magic are just still so young, and this is a team that will be in the playoffs for several years to come. but it's their first time in the playoffs since probably what the Dwight Howard days.
Hmm.
So the the Cavs are expected to win the series, but with how they finished the year, it's just kind of like I don't know where they're at, and I still feel like I don't really know where the Cavs are at. You don't know what Cavs team you're getting.
Hmm.
So as a Celtics fan, you kind of have to feel good going in the next series because you don't know what Cavs team you're getting, and
No,
that's not a good recipe for playoff basketball.
no, yeah. Against a team like the Celtics, you can't. You gotta win. I mean, we'll have home court advantage, so you gotta win on the road. Like it's different. So
Hmm.
see how it goes down. The
Yep.
last thing I had was we talked about at the beginning, we're starting a new era. And yeah, so it brought a question to my mind. Like it's been talked about. This is a new thing where people go. I heard it last night. I saw it on Sports Center. He, this chick goes, Tyrese Maxey, could he be the next face of the league? And I about left. I about got my car and drove off. But this is a real question. Who is going to be the next face of the league? I mean, when LeBron retires and Steph and KD, they're all out of there. It's between three guys to me. It's Anthony Edwards, Jalen Brunson, and Jason Tatum. That's my three. I mean, look at the commercials. The commercials tell half the story.
Hmm.
Tatum has like three commercials. Brunson has a great commercial where they actually go in depth on him, and then Ant has like two or three commercials. Like this is who they're trying to push to the top because they know they not only have it on the court, they have it off the court. So out of those three guys, who do you think it is?
Um, I'm kind of going to go a different approach for this one. Not for who I'm picking, but why. So I'm going to go with Ant, and the reason is because I think Tatum and Brunson have been in the league long enough where everyone's kind of been like pushing them to be the like face.
Hmm.
Everybody's been pushing them,
Yeah.
but I feel like they haven't just taken it. And
Hmm.
I feel like Anthony Edwards has taken it. Like that's me. And I mean, we
Hmm.
saw it firsthand, like him battling an old face of the league.
Hmm.
Like when we saw Tatum dunk on LeBron, like his rookie year, everyone was just like pushing Tatum, like, hey, like you're the face of the league, like all
Yeah.
this stuff. But I feel like for him to move into that position, he has to either one win a championship or have a series like Anthony Edwards just had. And I
Hmm.
know being in the East, there's not really any old heads he can play against, but you know, it's kind of unfortunate. But I stand by my analogy that Anthony Edwards just took it. Like these other guys, they haven't taken it from anybody.
Oh, dude, that's one of the best takes I've heard in a while. That's a great point because that leads me to a little bit of a different direction. Not only do you have to take it, I believe in the way you have to want it, and Ant
Hmm.
wants this. He
Yep.
absolutely salivates when you hear Ant's gonna be the face of the league. I don't know if Tatum salivates. I don't know if Brunson salivates when he hears that because this gets Ant going. Ant's not only, I heard a great story on Bill Simmons' podcast today. They're talking about how they were at a Wolves game and there's this dude sitting courtside and all these players are dapping them up, dapping them up. The whole team basically dapped up this random dude sitting courtside. So Bill Simmons goes over to him and he asks him, "Who are you, man? Like, why do all the players know you?" He goes, "I'm Anthony Edwards' best friend. The whole team loves me." So not only does Ant run this team, this is his team, his best friend. Like everybody knows his best friend. Like that just embodies like everybody loves Ant. They know it's his team, and they're just running behind Ant. Like it's literally it's an army of it's ridiculous how it is, man. And like you talked about, like LeBron wanted to be the face of the league, and Ant wants it too.
Hmm.
So I'm excited for it. Good
Yeah,
stuff.
here's a little off-topic question, but when do you think LeBron kind of took it or became the face of the league?
Hmm. I heard a lot of people talking about that in the comments of that Tyrese Maxey post actually. But somebody said 2005. I don't know if it's that soon. Could be. I'm thinking, gosh, shoot, I'm thinking as soon as he took that crappy team with their second best player being Silverino Salgauskas to the finals. I think that was it for me.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Um, I don't know if it was in that same year, but kind of when I think it was maybe a year before when he had that game against the Pistons where he scored like 28 straight or whatever.
Yep, that was that. That was
So
that
that
year.
kind of time frame, and I mean that's kind of the same trajectory Anthony Edwards is. I think about the same age and everything. So it's
Yeah.
kind of interesting to see, how it all plays out. But I think we got the same mindset going into it.
No, absolutely. I mean, yeah, then there's on LeBron's team for a second, like Booby Gibson. If you don't live in Cleveland, you don't know who that is. If
Hmm.
or Ohio, you don't know who that is. Jamario Moon, if you didn't live in Cleveland. I got to go with Alonzo G. If you don't know that name, you didn't live in Ohio, bro. Because Alonzo G was a hooper if you were a Cleveland fan, man. Like dudes like that, LeBron made look amazing. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, another good episode, man. We'll have definitely have clips of this one coming out. Um, yeah, we'll probably be back as soon as all these series are ended. I don't know if that's next week or a week after, but we'll be back to talk some hoops, man. Thank you for joining us. It was real. Peace.